Welcome back to On Tap Bets. I am your host, Joey Ricotta at Joey Knows Nothing, joined by my guy at Jack Bushman 2, Jack Bushman. We are here to break down and give our favorite bets, potentially. We're going to finalize them tomorrow, but our favorite bets and analysis for the Open Championship, the final major of the year in Scotland at St. Andrews. It's the old course, the oldest course, the most historic course on tour. At least that's even what Tiger Woods said. And I mean, they've been playing here for centuries. So this is definitely a classic. The 150th Open Championship, played at, like I said, one of the most historic places ever. This is the 30th time that the Open has been here. Jack, I'm super pumped to get into this with you. It's been a couple weeks since we talked. I did hit an outright, the John Deere Classic, like you mentioned to me earlier. I forgot what even the tournament name was. JT Poston, the Postman. So I'm feeling good. I'm still feeling good. I'm trying to ride this high into the Open. Jack, my friend, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy. Congrats on the Postman mailing you some money. It was, a pretty irrelevant event, the John Deere Classic, aside from unless you had money on JT Poston. But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm super pumped. The fourth and final major of the year. Sad it's the last one, but it is arguably my favorite. And this year, I mean, no shortage of excitement. The 150th Open Championship, it's at the old course. I mean, no better place for this historic of an event to be held at. We got an awesome field. Tiger Woods, of course, has been ramping himself up to take part in this event, skipped out on the U.S. Open. In the previous three majors of the year, I've been so freaking close, man. None was as heartbreaking as the U.S. Open, though. Having both Scotty Scheffler and Will Zalatoris outrights on both of them. They tie for second place, one stroke back of Matt Fitzpatrick. It's been tough, man. I've had the second place guy in two of the three majors this year, so I've been right there. Hopefully we'll cash one here in the final major of the year, and I've been right there, man. I don't feel bad about the strategy. I've been so close, so hopefully one can pull through for me this weekend at the 150th Open Championship, St. Andrews, baby. Nothing more really needs to be said. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait for the tournament to kick off at 12:30 a.m. Central Time here in good old Chicagoland area, Joey. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, you told me you might be pulling an all-nighter, so yeah. I wish I were doing the same, but I can't say I'm doing the same because I got to get up and go to work. So I will not be doing that because I will be like just an airhead tomorrow if that's the case. I will be falling asleep on customers tomorrow. Can't have that. But yeah, man, I am super pumped. You are due. You've had some terrible luck this season, and I feel like me talking about JT Poston, I'm like rubbing it in your face here because it's like I don't know what it is this season. I'm having some great luck, and I'm just trying to ride this wave. And I feel like, man, we would have been on we had one or two of the same that tournament and we would have hit. But shout out to our guy, Wes Sanderson,
for sure
here at On Tap.
Comes on one show, hits an outright, and fortunately he's not here this week to give us his insights because maybe we should just take his bet. Matt Fitzpatrick, I think, was the only outright he had that week. The rest was like all top 20s or top 40s or something like that. So yeah, maybe we need to get Wes's insights before we go and make those final bets on tomorrow's show, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to talk to him, just get him to send us a message and tell us who he likes for tomorrow. Because like you said, that I think you're right. That was his only outright that he gave us for that tournament, and it won. Like, we're out here throwing bullets.
Right.
We're out here throwing like 5, 6 at a wall, 7 at a wall, trying to see if something sticks. And he's like, nope, this is the guy locking in on it, and I'm just going to cash out all my money and not waste $1. So shout out to Wes. Like I said, doing great work. The On Tap Golf section, as are you, Jack, at On Tap Golf. Everybody definitely follow that on Twitter and all social media. So, and On Tap Bets. That's the show that we're on right now. If you can catch all of our shows definitely by going to at On Tap Bets on Twitter. So now that the pleasantries are out of the way, Jack, now that we have kind of talked about, recent happenings amongst ourselves, at least with betting and things like that, things to know about St. Andrews, the old course. Like, I was looking at it, I'm like, around the green stats might not be as important. Architect Alistair McKenzie once wrote, the Scottish are known for three things: Jack, can you guess what those 3 things are?
What are they? I can't, honestly. I don't even know if I want to embarrass myself by trying.
Well, if you don't want to embarrass yourself trying, I could tell you one of them for sure we're talking about today is golf. The other 2 are religion and politics, which we will not be talking about the other 2 things on this show because this is supposed to be fun. And outside of golf, the other topics, they just tend to kind of ruffle some feathers. So we will be talking about golf, though, Jack. Give me kind of like your rundown of this course, this definitely historic course, which we've seen Tiger Woods win it twice. So I believe both times we're on this course.
Yes, he has won here twice.
Yeah. So give me your thoughts here about the old course.
I mean, it's true links golf at the old course here at St. Andrews, and it's a real test, man. It's a par 72, but not a traditional one. It only has 2 par 5s and 2 par 3s, so a lot of par 4s. It's not extremely long. It's just 7,200 yards, one of the shorter major championships, but it can be impacted heavily by weather. I mean, rain and wind can heavily affect how this course is going to play. In the past couple of times here, we haven't seen the weather be a detriment to scoring too much. All 4 of the last times that the Open's been held at St. Andrews, we've seen the winning score get to at least 14 under. So it has played a little bit scoreable in the past here. But the weather is always kind of a toss-up. I mean, you can predict it all you want and look at the wind tracker and the weather finder and all that good stuff. But weather here at St. Andrews is known to flip in a heartbeat. So it can make for interesting swings and tee time splits and all that stuff, or an early AM, PM wave. Someone could have an advantage, but it's very hard to judge because it's just so unpredictable. So that's kind of the layout of it, though. It's very open, not a lot of rough. You already mentioned around the green game may not be as important. It's just kind of hard to judge around the green game because, like I said, there's no rough. There's a lot of guys who will putt from far off the green. It's hard to kind of judge how around the green is exactly going to determine how much it's going to play into the final score and how much it's going to mean here. Now, if the weather gets really tough, around the green could mean a whole heck of a lot, but it's a really, if it's playing dry and it's not weather impacted, I think guys who are able to bomb it off the tee here do have a little bit of a leg up because the ball is going to roll off those fairways. They're dry. They have a lot of roll out to them. There isn't necessarily a lot of danger because there isn't a lot of rough, but you do need experience, I think, to kind of know how to get around here. So it's an interesting golf course, man. It's a true test of golf. The bunkers are true penalty areas. I mean, you can get stuck in those things for 2 or 3 shots. Not playing well. Like, they can absolutely ruin your round in a heartbeat. So it's a true test of golf, and that's exactly what it should be at the 150th Open Championship. So it's going to be really interesting, man. I haven't we were talking before the show. I personally haven't made any bets up to this point because I'm still kind of figuring out how I want to go about it. But it is going to be interesting because I don't know particularly what type of player makeup or player build is going to have the most success here because we don't know what the weather is going to be. So it feels like it's a little bit more of a gamble compared to other majors, but still a lot of the top players do tend to win this event. Not necessarily maybe the top of the top, but Colin Morikawa, he's a common name in golf. Shane Lowry got his breakthrough major win here. Francesco Molinari before that, Jordan Spieth, like all at the time were very big names in golf, and most of those still are. So it's an interesting event, man. I'm excited to get looking at the board, and I'm also intrigued to see how you've kind of gone about it so far because I know you've told me you've made a couple of wagers already yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously I want to get your thoughts on those wagers because like you said, this is very difficult this week. It's hard for me to kind of. Usually I go in with a really set strategy of like who I want to approach, and I might throw a couple darts here and there, but it's like just kind of more feel. But like this week just really feels like a lot more feel. I definitely went into it with a little bit of a strategy, but I don't feel like super confident in it. I mean, you were talking about the long putts. I mean, long putts, baby. This week, a lot of double greens. Only 4 holes have single greens. The blind shots. Hidden bunkers. I mean, golfers could really get into trouble this week with overconfidence, I think. Maybe And maybe if they haven't played here before, like this could be a spot where, the weather, you talked about it. We don't know what to expect from the weather. So that could be really huge. And I would like to point out that, you are doing a lot of these live tweets from the On Tap Golf account. And, if you're following Jack, you're following the On Tap Golf account, maybe you'll get some updates on what Jack thinks as the tournament goes, because I think it's going to be very important. And maybe you get an advantage at like a live betting angle as well, because it's kind of hard to predict even at this point. So, with that said, though, we've seen many what look like good shots here turn into horrible shots in the past.
Yeah.
And, they strike it well, whatever, and it just turns out they felt like they had a good placement on it, and they turn into horrible shots. I mean, but it also has played easier as far as we've seen some nice scores here. So we could be a birdie fest. We don't know, but and we mentioned Tiger Woods. He's won 2 of his 3 opens here, of course, along with Jack Nicklaus, legendary Jack Nicklaus. But it seems like there's no trees, but you got to watch for the bunkers. We already mentioned that. They're a hazard here. So I don't know. I was kind of looking at like players who did well, obviously, in the majors this year. I feel like that's really important to look for. And obviously a big part of that is, I just want to get it out of the way before we kind of break down like the favorites in this tournament. Tiger Woods being here. He's obviously a huge story every time he's in a major. He's only major hunting at this point. It's about all he can probably keep up with. And he gets a lot of time off in between, so that works out for him. But I also want to talk about Will Zalatoris, because if he gets second place, kind of similar to what your situation is, Jack, he will hit the second place Grand Slam this season.
The Louis. AKA the Louis Oosthuizen.
Yeah, and I want to talk about him too later on as well. But other golfers have done it, but they've won majors. He has not won a major yet. He's also really young, but
yeah,
and I like what he put there too in response to this. I was reading a Yahoo article. This is his quotes. I'm not even in double-digit majors, and we're talking about me having 4 runners-up in majors here, Zalatoris said. I think I'll take that resume, but obviously I'd like to replace some of the silver medals with some gold medals. Obviously, but can we trust him here? I don't know. We'll break it down. I guess give me some thoughts on Tiger Woods and Will Zalatoris before we break down the board.
For Tiger, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is he clearly wants to be at his best for this tournament, right? Skipping out on the U.S. Open. Now, the U.S. Open doesn't particularly fit what is wrong with him. I mean, long rough, that just, screams a back injury at his age. So the U.S. Open doesn't fit him well, but he skips out on that. He comes over early, getting his practice rounds in. He played over in Ireland a little bit, had practice rounds with Rory. I mean, you could tell how much this event means to him, and it could potentially be his last time playing competitive golf at St. Andrews, or at least at, the semi-peak of his career where he's still able to compete, we're hoping. So I think, he's really geared up for this. I'm sure he wouldn't be here unless he feels capable and knows how important it is to him. So I'm thinking we could see the best out of Tiger Woods that we've seen this year. Maybe I don't expect him to compete for 4 days again. That might just be pushing it for his body, but this is another place that he knows really well. Obviously, the success he's had here goes and speaks for itself. So he knows how to get around here, and especially if the weather picks up, like maybe the cold could hurt his back, but I think the knowledge, if the course plays tougher, the knowledge that he has is going to benefit him more and more and more. So I'm just super excited to see Tiger play. I know he's really giving it a good run here, so I'm really excited to see him back playing major championship golf. And then for Willie Z, man, we talked about it when we were doing the U.S. Open show. Like, I'm going to bet him at majors. It's just going to happen. I know I'm already going to place a bet on him. I haven't done it yet, but it's seeming like it's a pretty fair number. I know he just got cut last week at the Scottish Open, but not very similar tracks. I know that people tend to think that because a lot of players go to the Scottish Open to kind of prepare themselves for this tournament, but they do still have their differences overall from the Renaissance Club and the old course here. So I'm not really all that concerned. A lot of guys actually didn't play all that well over in Scotland last week. A lot of guys at the top of the board. So I know I'm going to bet Will Z regardless of how he was coming in. I mean, what a story it would be if he was able to get the job done finally after all the adversity he's gone through in the first 3 majors and also the couple prior to that to start off his career. So I'm going to be in on Will Zalatoris outright 100%. And I'm not going to be in on Tiger Woods. I'm going to root him well. And if he wins, man, they can take my money. Like if Tiger wins, I'll just be happy, but I'm certainly not going to be putting a wager down on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not in on either one of them, but I can see the Willie Z thing happening. And usually I am. I'm just this week I'm not because I don't know. I feel like some voices are getting into his head, and not necessarily like it's affecting him, but it could come that 4th day of the tournament, right? So I think he's still going to have a very good tournament. I just don't know if he's going to be able to pull through yet, and I'm just not going to bet on him to. Like you said with Tiger, I don't think he's quite ready yet to be competing in a major, like really competing all the way through. I think he makes the cut. I don't think that's him realistically winning this thing. I don't think that's the case. Yeah, man. What do you say we just jump on in here and kind of look at the betting board? Let's look at the favorites. The top guys on the board. Bet Rivers, our sponsor. You can definitely go to Bet Rivers. Enter the promo code ONTAP for up to $250 deposit match. That's promo code ONTAP at Bet Rivers for an up to $250 deposit match. What are you waiting for? Go get it. It's free money. Definitely go do that. Rory McIlroy. Guy's been playing some wonderful golf here lately. 10-1. Then you got Xander Schauffele, who is on fire right now, absolutely on fire. I want to talk about him in a second. Jon Rahm, Jordan Spieth, Matthew Fitzpatrick, our boy Wes, pegged down that winner. Scotty Scheffler, Shane Lowry, JT, and then Patrick Cantlay are kind of like your top 8, top 9 there on the board. Let's kind of run this thing down. I want to talk about Schauffele first. On fire right now. I mean, 2 straight victories, the Travelers and the Scottish Open. I wanted to bet him, but he was cut from the Masters and the Players. T14 at the U.S. Open. Again, contrarian style for me. Like, you know me. If everybody's on somebody, there's a lot of times I'm not. And Schauffele just kind of fits into that mold for me this week. Just the way it goes sometimes for me. So there's nothing wrong with betting him. I have nothing against betting him, and I want to hear your thoughts on him, Jack, but it's just what I'm staying away from, especially at this price. Yeah,
Xander's been on a tear of all tears. I mean, won the Travelers. Of course, after I bet him at the U.S. Open, he goes and wins the next event. That's happened to me at all 3 majors this year, folks. So whoever I end up betting this week at the Open, I'm going to bet them next week if they're in the field at, I think it's the Rocket Mortgage next week. I'm not even sure, but hopefully it'll hit for me that time because I'm going to make sure to play that strategy. But yeah, Xander's been absolutely crushing it, man. He won last week, the Scottish Open. He also won a Pro-Am the week before that, wins the Travelers. And it's kind of crazy the run that he's been on because if you swap them earlier on in the year, like he's kind of on a mini Scotty Scheffler run here. Like maybe not the same notoriety of events that Scotty Scheffler won. Obviously, the Waste Management is a very popular event. A lot of people watch. Same with the Arnold Palmer Classic, the Masters. I mean, I don't got to talk about that. But I mean, Xander, like, he's always been right there throughout his career, and it was just all about getting the wins in the big events on the PGA Tour. He won the gold medal. He's won some big events, but they haven't been the big events on the PGA Tour, and now he's finally breaking through. And I feel like he's the type of guy who now he finally has that confidence where he knows, oh, I'm a top guy. And we've been hearing whispers around Xander for years saying once he gets that one win, it could be a domino effect and he can really rattle him off. And that's exactly what he's done here. So it's going to be tough for me not to bet Xander, honestly. I see a 14-1 out there on him. Kind of hoping I'll be able to get a boost and maybe get it up to 17, but I think I am going to get some money on Xander eventually. Like I said earlier, I don't have any bets in yet. I did want to I kind of like talking things through with you. It kind of clears my mind and go through a bunch of different ideas, and it lets me speak on a bunch of different players and get all my thoughts out there. So I really do like having this kind of research show before I make my final bets, not just for our listeners, but for myself also.
Absolutely. And I can't fault you for that, Schauffele. Like if you're going to bet him or you're thinking about betting, because like I said, there's no real reason for me not to. It's just like I guess you can call it more of a feel thing this week, and I'm just staying away. But and like a contrarian approach. So I'm glad that you're listening to my words, but also like taking your own, like for this one, especially because like there's really no reason. Like as hot as the guy is, and like you said, he could just really rattle him off, like everyone's been talking about.
He's got that skill set. Like he's top end guy.
Yeah, he is a top end guy, so I could absolutely see him winning this tournament, especially because he's due for one of these big ones, right? So I could definitely see it. You might talk me into actually betting it now, even with this contrarian approach.
Hey,
so
one thing I will say though, I know you don't like normally betting here up at the top, and out of these 8 to 9 guys, there's a case against a lot of them because the majority have never played here at the old course. Like Rory hasn't played it since 2010. He missed it in 2015 with an ankle injury. Xander's never played here. Scotty's never played here. JT's never played here. Rahm's never played here, at least in competitive major championship type rounds, you know. So Cantlay's never played here either, I believe. So a lot of those guys, I mean, there's kind of a reason to go against them for you personally. And also, if you go and look at some of the recent major champions, it is more so that 20, 30 to 50 to 1 pocket. I mean, Colin Morikawa last year was right around 30 to 1. Shane Lowry was in that same boat. Those types of guys have had success here, and that could set up well for the type of build that you like. So I'm probably still a sucker, and we'll go with someone at the top. I like a lot of these players so much, but I don't know which ones I'm going to get. Just looking at these guys, I don't think I'm going to be on JT, which is kind of scary to me because he's obviously a big game hunter and has done really well at majors so far this year. I've been on John Rahm.
Form is just kind of ugly though. It's like,
yeah, he missed the cut last week as well. John Rahm had kind of an ugly finish. He did make the cut last week at the Scottish Open. This might be the first major where I'm not in on John Rahm. But yes, I think Rory and Xander is going to be my biggest decision. I want to have one of them, but I don't know which one it's going to be. And at that low of odds, I don't think I want to have both. So those are kind of the ones that intrigue me. Maybe I have a debate of myself between if I can get Spieth around 20, that's something that would intrigue me because, I mean, he loves playing these types of golf where scrambling can really matter. He doesn't have a finish worse than 30th since 2015, and he's got 4 top 10s in there as well. So if I can find Jordan Spieth at a little bit bigger of a number, I'll probably be in on him. But Matthew Fitzpatrick scares me a lot too because he's a guy, number 1 in bogey avoidance coming into this tournament. And let me tell you, if weather plays a factor, bogey avoidance is really going to matter here. That, and I think long distance putts, like putting over 30, 40 feet, like those types of guys are really going to be someone you can lean on here. And Matthew Fitzpatrick has that short game. Of course, the big thing that was talked about when he got his U.S. Open win was how much distance he's added to. And if the weather doesn't play much of a factor, Matthew Fitzpatrick's got the distance now where he can benefit from the rollout of these fairways and be hitting balls closer to the greens on these par 4s. So there's a case to be made with Matthew Fitzpatrick on either side as well. And he's just been playing fantastic throughout the course of the season. Now he's finally got his win, but you even take that away and he might be having the most well-rounded season out of anyone on tour. So he's someone that intrigues me as well. I'll probably get the Matthew Fitzpatrick whisperer Wes and see what he's got to say about Matt Fitzpatrick this week. But
I love that you mentioned both of them too, like kind of back to back between him and Spieth, because they're in a head-to-head. I see a head-to-head matchup play between both those two, and that's just like
interesting.
I can't even. I don't know what to make of that. I can't even make a bet on that as of right now, anyways. But
so that's what I'm thinking at the top. I'm guessing you don't have any. You don't have any bets out of those top 8.
No, I was interested. I'm very interested still in Schauffele, even though, like I said, I'm kind of staying away. But you might be talking me into that as well.
Sure.
Spieth, I want the Grand Slam, but I'm not going to do it. And of course, actually, Patrick Cantlay was interesting to me as well. But
non-major, he's been killing it. Everything but major, he's been on a tear this season.
And that's why I just can't do it as the majors. But like one of these days, you feel like that's a Schauffele type thing. Like he's going to put it together, right? Like
exactly, yeah. Still some decisions to be made by me up at the top. I expect you're not going to have many unless it's just Xander. But why don't we move down to that next range, the 25 to 50 range? Because I know this is where you said your card is really getting started. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so 25 to 1, you can find that on Bet Rivers. The Cameron Smith, Willie Z range is at 25 to 1. Then you have Tommy Fleetwood 28, Colin Morikawa at 30 to 1. So you're thinking that's a good price, right, for Colin? I'm assuming.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but like, God, that's such a good price. It's the same number they gave him last year. Why can't we do it again?
I'm not sure why it's the same price. Like I mean, I guess I kind of he didn't do too bad at the U.S. Open.
No, not at all. Like he had one round where I think he shot 75, and he's got 2 5th place finishes in majors this year. Like for all the talk that he's been bad, he's still like right there. Like another guy who's just, if he clicks, he's gonna be someone that, at 30 to 1 too, we'll be kicking ourselves if we don't take. It's just going to happen for 4 consecutive rounds here.
Yeah, that's the thing. For 4 rounds, can he put it together? I was in on him on the U.S. Open, and I was super excited for a while. I think he end one of those rounds as the leader? Was it 1 or 2 of those rounds?
He was up there early, and then round 3, he shot like a 75 or something brutal.
Yeah, he was not good. That's right. I think it was the 3rd round that really did him in. But yeah, the guy that I'm really interested on, I've already placed a bet. Cameron Smith, 25 to 1. 2 top 3s at Augusta, including 1 this year. He's starting to putt better. Gained almost 5 strokes putting last week at the Scottish Open. Does well on links courses. He won this year at the Players Championship. Also won the Century Tournament of Champions. Excuse me. I'm thinking maybe he can carry some of that success from last week where he was T10. Probably a chip on his shoulder after getting cut from the U.S. Open. I'm thinking I like Cam Smith here. I don't know. I want your thoughts though.
Cam Smith is right. Earlier on in the season, he was playing as well as anyone, and he still has flashed that upside, but it just hasn't been consistently there recently. But we know like what that upside can be. And despite him not playing the best or to the best of his abilities, he still found his way near the top of leaderboards. And another interesting thing you mentioned, he's had success at Augusta National, and we've kind of seen some comparisons between Augusta National and the old course, mostly because of those, just a lot of hills and uneven lies. And for whatever reason, a lot of guys who have played well at Augusta have played well here at the old course, probably because good players tend to play well at major championships. That's probably what it is. But there is a little bit of a similarity there. And man, if it gets tough, Cam Smith can get his way around a golf course better than anyone. I mean, a great scrambler, really good from 120, 125 yards away to get up and down. And you mentioned he finally started putting like himself again last week, and that's a big thing. I mean, he can roll the rock as good as anyone. He's like a Matt Fitzpatrick type of putter, one of the best on the PGA Tour. So Cameron Smith is someone that's drawing attention in my mind as well. 25, 28 to 1 in that category. He's someone who I'm really thinking about as well. Him and Will Z are the ones at the top of that 25, 28 to 1 range that I'm really intrigued in. And then Colin Morikawa there too is really enticing as well. So I like your call of Cam Smith. He's someone that I feel like I'm probably going to have some money on at some point here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. It's real interesting here too. I'd probably go the Morikawa route as well. Haven't done it just yet, but I think I'm going to probably do that.
It's such a fair.
It really is, and yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Like I really don't understand why the price is what it is. He's shown that he's capable of getting the job done in these tournaments. I don't understand that price. We look down the board a little bit. 33 to 1, DJ, 40 to 1, Victor Hovland, Tyrrell Hatton, 40 to 1, 45 to 1. You got Max Homa, who's very interesting as well. Hideki Matsuyama, Sam Burns, Louis Yu, Tony Finau, all those guys are 40 to 1. Jack, what do you think about anybody in this range?
This range is really intriguing to me. There's a few guys who I think have really fair numbers, and then guys who I think have absolutely horrible numbers. Like Tommy Fleetwood, 28 to 1 is absolutely garbage. Like I'm just
bonkers.
If Tommy wins, good for Tommy. Good for Tommy. Honestly, it's well overdue. I'm not going to have money on Tommy Fleetwood at 28 to 1. And there's just a couple of guys here like Tyrrell Hatton. I'm not going to be touching him there. even Sam Burns, who's someone I've liked a lot recently, just all of a sudden since the U.S. Open, I don't know what happened after that final round at the U.S. Open, but he has not been very good. 40-1 for the way he's been playing. I know he's got that winning pedigree, but I'm not going to get there this week at a course that he's never played before, only played an Open once in his career, 76th place finish last year. The ones that intrigue me from this range, really, DJ is a little bit tempting because he has been playing. Out of all the live guys, I think he's the one that intrigues me the most. He's been playing well over with live so far. He had a second place finish in their last event. He actually hovered around at the U.S. Open, so he's someone that is interesting me, and I think the number honestly is going to get worse on him in the next 24 hours. Like I think we could see a 40 or maybe even a 45-1 on DJ before it's all said and done.
I could see that.
I think Louis Oosthuizen's in the same boat. Those are the two live guys that intrigue me the most. Louis been playing pretty solid as well here recently. He's got great Open history, both at the old course and just in Open championships in general. He was so close last year. I had a wager on Louis last year before he pissed it away on the Sunday round. In typical Louis fashion.
What for the withdraw?
Just the typical Louis fashion. But I think Hideki 50-1 is a number that's screaming bet me to me. Like, I don't care where his game's at. I know what Hideki can do. I think that's just too big of a number for him. So he's probably the one that intrigues me the most. I want to get your thoughts on a couple of those guys. And also, I can't leave out Brooks Koepka because 4 top 10s in his last 5 Open championships. Do you have any intrigue at all? And also, what do you think about the rest of this range?
I really haven't thought much about Brooks this week, and I probably should.
I haven't really either.
And that's something I'm probably going to do after we get off of here because I really need to think about that with Brooks. I could see it. Like, there's no way you can say that you can't see it with Brooks because he's just a guy that he definitely can do it at any given tournament, really, and especially at a major. This is what he's going for. So there's a lot of drama surrounding Brooks. Did he commit to live before or after we did our last show? I can't remember.
It was right after we did our last show because he had that whole thing at the U.S. Open where he was ragging the journalists, saying they were ruining the U.S. Open by asking him all these questions, and said he hadn't even thought about it. And then 4 days later, he's part of Live Golf. So
golf needs a heel. Golf needs a heel.
That's Brooks to a T.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned one of the guys though that I really like in this range. There's 2 actually with 45-1 odds on Bet Rivers. One of them, Louis. I like it. You mentioned the course history in particular, and you mentioned the Open history, but the course history in particular here, he's won it. He won it in 2010, and he finished. He was in the playoff.
He didn't even just win it. He ran away with it.
Oh, crushed it. And that's a long time ago, but like you don't forget how to play a course. I feel like, especially if you can watch what you did last time and then just know, like, he's got that knowledge of doing it, and he's definitely can play in majors. And he also had, in 2015, he was in the playoff when Zach Johnson won it, which I think Mark Leishman, Leishman was the other one that was in that playoff. And, I mean, come on, you're going to give me 45-1 now on Louis? Ooh, like, yeah, given his past history here, I think, like, who's to say he can't do it again? You got to watch out for that withdrawal. I think Live Golf Louis is intriguing this week.
I mean, listen, I think I bet Louis for both his second places at majors last year, both at the Open and at the U.S. Open, man. I wanted Louis to win one so bad. I'd be so happy for this guy. I might just bet him because I want him to win, and now it kind of seems like the perfect calm storm for him to do it at this course. As you said, he's had plenty of success here. I remember a year ago, I actually just had this conversation with my buddy because he's the one who I had the conversation with. But it was Sunday morning before Louis teed off, and I was like, Louis is going to win a major today. Louis is going to win a major today, boys. Third hole, hits one into the sand, absolutely dunks it 30 yards past the green. I was like, oh, Louis not going to win a major today, boys. I've been part of the Louis swings before, so I know how much a roller coaster ride it can be. So if I'm not on it, best of luck to you, but I might be there alongside you. But aside from that, I don't really have a lot of interest in this range. Max Homa, maybe. I don't know.
That's interesting too.
I don't know if winning a major is there for him yet, but He's been playing really, really good golf, and he fits a lot of things. I mean, he's a good putter, good at bogey avoidance, good long putter. He's a little bit interesting, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to do it, Joey. But I see a 40-1 on Tony Finau. I see a 40-1 on Tony Finau. And it's tempting, baby, because he's been sneaking along. And first-time major winners, man. It's been happening this year. So
last 5 years, he's finished inside the top 30 in each of the last 5 Opens.
Oh, so, yeah, he loves competing. No one loves competing but not winning like Tony Finau.
Different courses, yeah. Different courses, but still, missed the cut at the U.S. Open recently, but he's been golfing well this year. Great on links tracks.
Mm-hmm.
He's 9th in strokes gained. He's tee to green.
Am I stupid?
And 15th in strokes gained approach. Like, there's a reason why you're doing this, Jack. I'm with you. He's going to be a part of my betting card a little later in the show. That's okay, all I'm going to say.
That's probably the smarter way to bet Tony Finau, I'm imagining. But
yeah,
move down to like 50, 75. Get our way through.
There's another there at 45-1. I'm intrigued by too.
Not trying to skip.
No. You're good. It's the last one. Sam Burns. I also do like the Max Homa call as well. I haven't made up my mind quite yet, but I do like that. Sam Burns 45-1, 10th on the tour in par 4 scoring, which you mentioned it. All the par 4s. A lot of par 4s here. 12th in strokes gained approach, 13th strokes gained putting. Good tee to green. He's been kind of off, hit and miss the last 2 tournaments, but otherwise he's had a really good year. So I think I'm in on Sam Burns. I think that's a pretty fair number there.
For sure. Maybe you're talking me back into him because I've been on Burns a lot this year.
I think because when you get off of somebody, then that's when they start heating up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm literally thinking in my head right now. Maybe I shouldn't jump ship off Sam Burns yet.
You didn't bet him last week though, so maybe that's where I'm off, and we're not actually going to win with Sam Burns.
Right.
So, anyways, we could kind of take a look now. You kind of wanted to go down the list here. We can look at what was after that? 50-1, 51 range and on. You said Brooks
75.
Yeah, Ryan Fox, Joaquin Neiman, Sungjae M, Justin Rose, bunch of guys in this range. Seamus Power, Tiger.
You have interest down here because one thing that is kind of interesting compared to other majors, the Open, these guys are a little bit more in play here. But honestly, just going through some of the names, I'm not super intrigued with people from 50 to 75 or even that many from 50 to 100. Like who are a couple of guys that you like, if any?
Not many. I'll be honest with you. I'm really not here. And I mean, like, we could kind of go down. Do you want to talk about your boy Corey Connors? Like,
that's part of the betting card already.
Is it already? Okay.
I mean, it hasn't been made, but it's gonna be part of it, 100%.
Yeah, and I mean that's a little bit further down. It's 80-1. You can't miss out on that though. I like Seamus Power, but I don't like him as an outright.
Yeah, so, I'm there too, especially at that number.
It's a good number. It really is a good number. I might wind up doing it, but I don't know if I see him winning this tournament. I really don't think I see him winning this tournament, but it's it's pretty fair. I mean, other than that, Jack, like I haven't touched anything until 125-1 so far. Like I won 125-1 and that's about it. Like the rest as of like us speaking right now.
Yeah, there are only 2 guys in 50 to 100 that have really caught my eye. Also, if you're betting Tiger Woods at 60-1, you're a straight animal. I respect you, but I'm not doing it.
No, you're a nut job. That's what you should say.
100%. I'm one of them is Sungjae M, 65-1. I believe in the upside. Okay. I just think that's a really good number for Sungjae. I know the recent form really hasn't been there all that much, but I do think that's a fair number for what he can do. He's also played really well at the Masters before, which I mentioned could be kind of a complementary to St. Andrews, the old course. Corey Connors goes without say. He's going to be part of the card. I already know it. The other one is Keegan. All the stats that I run.
I thought we were going to go. I thought you were going to mention him today. I really did. Yeah.
Keegan, I 90-1 on Keegan. I could probably find in 100 out there. Like winning might be too big of an ask for him, to be honest, at this type of event, but he's got the game and he's been putting well this year. That's the biggest thing that's killed Keegan forever. He hasn't been able to putt, and he now can putt, and he's been able to, kind of stop the bleeding thanks to his putter a little bit. It's been the best putting season for him by far, and playing really good golf all year round. And then the U.S. Open, he was there till the end. So Keegan's another guy who caught my eye, but other than that, I'm not really interested in anyone else outside of that range. As we move down, though, getting into some triple digis here, there are some flyers I like down in this range. Who are a couple that jumped out to you? Because I think there are a few that I like, as I just said, but there's a fine line where I'm going to go. I don't think I'm going to go behind 150 to 1, but there's a couple guys from 100 to 150 that I do like.
You can make a case, definitely. Like I've seen some smoke behind Jordan Smith this week as well. Yeah, like a lot of guys are on him this week. I'm kind of just looking at like who's popular as far as even DFS goes. Like he's one of the guys that seems to be gaining some traction and getting some build and some hype. The rest of it, I mean, there's some other guys here that are getting hyped as well, and you can make a case for a lot of them. Cameron Tringali was actually pretty solid last week as well, but
Cameron triangles.
Yeah, triangles. I'm not. I think he's a square this week, so I'm not doing that. But Sergio, I mean, I think he's had a pretty good history here. Wasn't the last time that he was at this course he was pretty good? So I think that's in play. Bryson, the bomber. Like, you can't rule him out here, especially like he's one of the guys that could make this a much easier day on himself than a lot of the other guys, especially cutting through possibly that wind. So I can't rule him out. I think that's actually a pretty decent flyer to take. I haven't done it yet, but that's a potential. My boy Mito. I mean, should I like
so bad? He's been playing so bad.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I will give you the one guy that I really like though in this spot past 100 to 1. I like Mark Leishman. Mentioned it earlier. He was in the playoff and lost 2015 in 2015 here at the old course to Zach Johnson. He was a part of that with Louis. Coming off a couple bad tournaments, but T14 at the U.S. Open, and he's done decently at majors this year. I mean, he's got the putter, 15th in strokes gained putting. We mentioned how difficult this could be as far as long putts go, or like you're going to need the longer putter and you're going to need to be a good putter here. So I think Leishman's actually in play, 125 to 1, believe it or not. So I don't know. What are you thinking here?
Leishman's an interesting one because he's one of those guys, if the weather plays an impact, he could be up there in the mix. And that's a very fair number for him given his track record at this course. And also in major championships, he has been a little bit more lively this year compared to last. Bryson, I have to talk about. I think 100, I can see 110 to 1. I mean, Cameron Tringali has better odds than Bryson. Sergio Garcia has better odds than Bryson. That's rude. That's straight up disrespectful. I don't care what you have to say about him or how you feel about him personally. That's just, you have to bet that number, especially at a course like this where if the weather isn't playing a factor, it's not a long course and you can get a lot of rollout. Like Bryson can have 60 yards left to every one of these par fours. And if the wind doesn't become a factor, he's one of those guys who has the potential to be at the top and maybe even run away with it because of his length. Like 110 to 1, it's at least worth $5. I think that has to be on your betting card. Like, don't care where his game's been at or how you feel about him. You shouldn't have worse odds than Mito Pereira or Keith Mitchell. Like that's an absolute joke. Bryson DeChambeau is a major winner. Put some respect on his name here. I'm for sure going to be in on him there. Another couple.
Don't talk about my boy Mito like that. How dare
I'm sorry, but he shouldn't have better odds than Bryson. That's rude.
I agree.
Patrick Reed's another guy kind of like Leishman, where if weather plays an impact, he could be there. I don't think I'm going to get there. Taylor Gooch was another one who intrigued me. I know a lot of people are hating on the old Gucci Mane because of what he said about Live Golf and comparing it to the Ryder Cup, which was a brutal statement, but he does have winning upside. We've seen it before. A lot of comparisons of him being like a poor man Sam Burns. I more so think that 100 to 1 is just kind of a fair number on him, so I might get there. But the one I like the most outside of Bryson here is Aaron Wise, 130 to 1. Aaron Wise has been playing really good, solid golf as of late. popped up at the U.S. Open, had a nice run there, plays well on links golf. I think 130-1 is a pretty fair number for the upside that he's shown us already this season in tougher events. So I really like Aaron Wise there and Bryson DeChambeau. Those are probably the two that stuck out to me the most. And then I had one question I wanted to ask you, Joey, because Cameron Young is now 130-1. And a month ago, he had 3 straight top threes and was pushing 60-1 at the U.S. Open. 2 bad tournaments, 130-1. Seems like a good number. But I don't know if I'm going to get there. But that
seems like an overreaction for his price to be that low, actually.
Young players always get their numbers fluctuated the most because they don't have that experience yet. But, like, if you're a Cam Young truther and you bet on him at the U.S. Open at 60-1, how do you not bet him 130-1 here, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know, it's a little bit different than that tournament, but it's still, like, I think this is one of the easier ones if we're actually looking at it from a major perspective. Yeah. I think this is, like you said, 60-1 to this price. That's seems like a major overreaction, even though he's not golfing terribly well right now. I think that's, like you said, he was hot. So he could definitely fire back up again, and there's no telling whether this is the week or not. But at that number, what's $5 worth to you? Like,
right. That was just like an interesting thought that I had because I was someone that took him at the U.S. Open. He was right there in the mix until on Sunday he shot like an 84. He shot like 12 over, and then, or maybe that was at the Memorial. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But ever since then, he's been on a horrible path. But the number just seems beyond fair. So I was curious of your thoughts on that. But
I've seen mixed results too. Like people, I've was reading a little bit earlier, and there's some mixed results on him. Some people fading him and DFS. Some people taking the shot there. I don't know. I'm with it. I'm with it. I think it's worth it, especially if it's just a small wager. I think it's worth it.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, after 150, I really don't have much interest. Was there anyone that was catching your eye? And then I also had one question. Are you going back on your boy, the Postman, at 150-1?
No, it's too soon. It's too soon. I don't see him doing it again, replicating that. I think that was kind of a tournament for him, specified specifically for him. Not that he can't do it here. I just think given the field that week, that it was a really good shot that he was going to win that. This field here, I don't love it. He's also very hit and miss with the Postman, but there was nobody else in this like 100+ range that I've dove into yet. I might, take another flyer, but if I do, it's probably going to be like the Cam Young, the Bryson types. Other than that, it's, not that it can't happen. This is a tournament out of the majors, like we've talked about, that it can happen here for the long shots, and I like doing it. So I might do it. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, before we get into some of our props that have caught our eye real quick, I'm going to list a couple names for the sake of listing names that may be on my betting card by the end of tomorrow, depending on how things go in the next 24 hours. The first one was Sahith Theegala, 180-1. Been so close a couple of times this year. I really believe in the upside that this kid has. 180-1 was a little bit interesting to me. I also saw Kurt Kitayama, 200-1, had a really close run with Xander last week, has been playing pretty well throughout the course of the season. He was close with John Rahm in Mexico too. So, not a good field in Mexico, but he knows what it's like to play up at the top near some of the big names of this game. So Kitayama is someone who kind of drew interest in me at 200-1. And the last one was good old Min Woo Lee, 250.
Oh boy.
Won the Scottish Open last year. Young kid who's a really good ball striker, can bomb it off the tee. If the weather doesn't impact it, I think his distance could come in handy. So those were a couple of guys that I'm naming names for the sake of naming names that could be on my card tomorrow. Don't really need to dive in them too much more than that.
Are you you're not grilling this week?
What up?
You're not grilling this week, Emiliano Grillo?
I'm not feeling the grill.
He's been golfing much better lately. That's
he's so random. I can never know what Emiliano Grillo is going to do.
Yeah,
but I will say, I know he plays well on coastal tracks. So there's time to believe in Emiliano Grillo. He's probably got some juicy odds. I didn't even look at it, but
he's like 200-1.
I'm not going to do it, but I know
Chris Kirk's also,
Chris Kirk is a fair number too. I mean, he was like 50-1 2 months ago.
Yeah, he's had some prices that's like, whoa, like 40-1 Chris Kirk, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to bet that, but
180,
175, 180-1. I mean, now you're kind of talking. Like I might have to. So that's kind of where I'm at. Jack, do you have anything as far as props go? I was kind of looking at like the top 40 market as I always do. Do you have any like top 5s, 10s, 20s, 40s as you're looking at it now?
Yeah, there were a couple top 20s and a couple top 40s that caught my eye. As I've said, I don't have anything in as of yet. What was the top 20? Tony Finau, top 20 Tony, plus 160. Never a bad bet. Probably the smarter bet than the outright. That one stood out to me. And then who else was intriguing to me? I knew I had one more. Who was it? It might have been, I think it was, no, that wasn't it. Sorry, guys, I'm stalling now.
Was it?
No, it was Bryson, 350-1. If you're not going to take Bryson outright at 110, I think he can come top 20 at 350-1.
350-1?
Yes.
Or 35-1.
Plus 350. Yeah. 350-1 would be incredible.
Oh, like holy shit, dude! I'm betting that plus right now.
Yeah, plus 350. Those were the top 20s that stood out to me. The top 40 was Tiger. Tiger minus 110. Top 40. I think if you want to have some money on Tiger, that's the responsible way to do it.
I like it. Yeah, that is a pretty responsible way to do it. I also have Tiger on my card. It's a little bit different. I'm gonna save it for now, but. You mentioned Finau. I like the top 20 angle. I do. You're getting plus money there. I think that's a solid bet. I know I mentioned to you earlier that I wouldn't be on him outright, but like I said, the last 5 years he's finished inside the top 30 in each of the last 5 open. So I feel like a top 40 is super, super safe. It's minus 136 on Bet Rivers. It's, you're paying a little juice.
Number. It's a great number, though.
But minus 136 is a pretty damn good number at Bet Rivers. The other ones I was looking at.
I see it 180 somewhere else. Like, that's a great number. That's a great
Absolutely. Number. Minus 180, minus 175 on
I might go snag that. I might go snag that now, actually.
I would do it now because that's moving. I'm almost 100% of that's moving. So
yeah, 136. That's a weird number. I'm going to guess it's moving.
Yeah, no doubt. Top 40, though, as well for Seamus Power. I think we might have briefly touched on him.
I think that's a safer bet than outright, too.
Yeah, plus 105 at Bet Rivers. I put a half unit on it. Might put a full one on it. But second on tour in par 4 scoring. 14 of them this week. I think you mentioned that, Jack.
Yep.
I believe that, yeah. So 27th in strokes gained putting, 36th in strokes gained total. Hasn't won this year, but he's done pretty decent in the majors this year. So, Ireland native, not far off from Scotland. T27, T9, T12 in majors this year after not playing in a major until this year. Love the plus money value here on Seamus Power for a top 40. Head-to-heads? Got any head-to-heads?
I haven't really looked at anything other than top 20 or top 40 at this point. I haven't even gotten into the internationals at all. So those are going to be tomorrow.
We're saving that. Yeah, let's save all that for tomorrow because I have no nationality props as of now as well. I was looking at an Emiliano Grillo over Luke List head-to-head, but I'm not quite certain I actually want to go through with it or not. So it is plus 100 on a certain book. But, I'm not sure. Luke List has just not really been in good form lately, so that's kind of where I was looking.
What killed him? I had money on him. 17th hole somewhere, he triple bogeyed it, and that was the end of Luke List's good run.
Yeah, he treated me kindly, and then he just fell off the map. So thank you, Luke List.
That's what he did.
That's what he does, apparently. Little boost, you mentioned Tiger. I found a little boost on FanDuel, plus 200. Rory, Tiger, and Zalatoris each to make the cut. I put a quarter of a unit on this, plus 200. Think they all have good enough weeks, and it really just depends on whether you think Tiger Woods is going to make the cut or not. In my opinion, I think, like you're thinking, the top 40 with the top 40 bet, as you mentioned, I think he definitely is going to make the cut here. Given his history here, I think that'll happen. I don't know if he's quite ready to win. Can't trust him to do that, but can't trust Willie Z to finish the job. I could see Rory.
Hey, you don't say that. You don't say that.
All right. I'm not saying that.
He's finishing it out. Don't even worry about it.
you put the. I'm gonna leave Willie Z out of this, but Rory, Will Z, and Tiger to make the cut. I think that's a pretty good bet there, plus 200. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I like that for sure. I mean, if Rory misses the cut, that would be absolutely absurd, especially the way he's been playing in majors this year. I mean, he's been so close. Will Z, I know he doesn't necessarily have a track record over here or anything, but big game hunter, he's going to want this one. So I think making the cut is a safe bet. And Tiger, I mean, knows this place better than anyone. Great experience, a lot of good memories. And as I mentioned earlier, this could be the last time he plays real competitive rounds here at St. Andrews. So everything's telling me that he's gearing up to make a good of a run as he possibly can. Like, he's going to give it his all, no holding back whatsoever. And hopefully we'll see, Tiger at least somewhere in the mix, because golf is always way more fun when Tiger is somewhere in the hunt, whether it's even, just on the cut line. People are going to be watching just for that sake. So I like that bet a lot, honestly. If that's, I just think there are better ways to get money on Tiger than just betting him outright, and that's another way to do it. So yeah, I like that a lot.
Well, and then the other thought that came to my mind too was I think I saw him, the best number that in this, I could be wrong about this, but the best number that I could find was minus 150 for Tiger to make the cut. So really, if you think it comes down to Tiger making the cut out of those three, and you just parlay those three together for the boost, why not just take the plus money then? You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I was at with it. I wanted to find a way to get Tiger on the card. That's pretty much, so, and I agree with you. I think he's kind of boosting up for maybe a run like next season, dude. I might be all about it. Like, well, we might talk some outrights for Tiger next year, because I want to see it.
I hope so. It's not going to be this week, though. I'll tell you that.
No, not this week. Jack, this has been great. We're going to come back tomorrow with our finalized picks and bets for tomorrow's show. Maybe some nationality props, some head-to-heads, maybe more top 40s. Who knows? Maybe more outrights. But we definitely went through quite a bit today, so
absolutely,
we're gonna put it to bed for now. Jack, give me any of your final thoughts for today's show.
The biggest thing was, man, I just really enjoy talking everything through with you. I hope the listeners enjoyed as much as I do, because it gives me a lot of perspective on different guys and hearing your thoughts going into the week and just looking at the lines, seeing who's a fair number and talking it out loud. I really do think it's so beneficial. And man, we haven't hit a major winner yet this year. I've been so freaking close. So I really, really, really want one, man. I love this tournament. It's at the old course, the history, the beginning of golf, I should say. I really want one this week. So thanks for all the help, Joey. I always appreciate it. And I'm pumped for the show tomorrow, brother.
Well, dude, hey, man, that's why you are due, because you are the golf expert. I like to gamble. Listen, we talk through these things and we both kind of collaborate. I hate saying that. Matt Nagy, George McCaskey.
We're going to find out the whys of why we didn't hit our bet.
You know what? Once we find out the whys of why we didn't hit our bet, we are going to be pissed. That's all I know, because it happens every week when we don't win our bets. But Jack, this has been awesome, as it always is. We are going to be back tomorrow. We're going to cash some tickets this week. I know we are. Got to go in with some confidence here. You're due. We're on a couple of the same, so why not we just hit one of these that we are both on the same? Because I might be having a pretty good season this year, but I feel like a lot of times, like, it's not from the show picks. Like, it's my actual bets that I'm making that, like, maybe one or two from the show picks or something. I don't even know.
You were on an unreal run there earlier on in the year before we really got the show rolling. I mean, you were killing the swing season. Yeah,
it was the swing season. It absolutely was. And then finally, hopefully, the postman just woke this thing up again. Yeah, Jack. Just want to remind everybody that you should check out what's on tap in Chicago sports by going to ontapsportsnet.com, at ontapsportsnet on all social media platforms. Check out Jack at Jack Bushman 2. He's going to have updates on the tournament.
I'll be one of the sickos that's awake at 3 a.m. on Thursday.
You'll be one of the sickos in sicko mode. So yeah, at On Tap Golf, at On Tap Bets, Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks. What am I missing? Cubs, White Sox, bets, golf. We're talking about it right now. You name it, we got it on ontapsportsnet.com. Promo code up to $250 at Bet Rivers. We've been talking a lot about Bet Rivers today. So promo code on tap, get the free money. Shout out to Bet Rivers. With that said, you can find me on Twitter at Joey Knows Nothing. Like I said, Jack Bushman at Jack Bushman 2. We're going to get on out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow.